Hello and welcome to the Early Years Staff Meeting Podcast with Sarah, Keely and Steph, the place where you can listen, learn and laugh with us about all things early years.
Okay. Hello everyone!
Hello! And welcome back to school.
I know.
This is going to be our first episode of 2023-2024.
I know.
Ooh.
It's a bit of a shock to the system because we haven't done anything all summer.
No.
And as they always say, it's like we've never been away.
I know.
11 o'clock, the first day back. You've got to play bingo of all the little things people are going to say. Like,
Oh yeah, that's true.
so did you go away over summer?
Did you do any work over the holidays?
No.
So welcome to our first episode of the new series, everybody. We're really excited to be back, and we're ready and raring to go with some more episodes. We're excited to sort of start the new series in September and then share that early years journey with you through the rest of the year. And just a little roundup of today's episode. So we're going to start off, as you start off any good first day back to school, with an icebreaker. So we're going to have a little icebreaker question before moving on to look at our school development plan, aka what our plan is for the podcast this year, how we're going to develop it moving forward. And our main agenda today is setting up the provision. And it's going to be a two-parter at least. So we're going to start up with some stock taking before moving on to our mindful moment and then our call to arms at the end.
Woohoo!
Woo! So, do we need a little jingle here?
I don't know. Yeah, we can have a little jingle. Are we ready? So here we go.
Oh, that's like the perfect jingle, wasn't it? Like the icebreaker. Like feel like I'm on like a game show now.
There you go, an icebreaker. So, what chocolate bar would you be?
Oh,
Okay, I know what I'd be. Fruit and nut. I'm a bit fruity and a bit nutty. So that's like totally me. Plus it's my favourite, so that's me.
Has to be kept in the fridge though.
Oh no, see I'm a little bit
no.
I like it in the fridge if it's like really hot day and it's like getting to that point that you can't actually eat it.
I like the
it's
snap.
Oh no. But then I like it when it's just a little bit warm. It's got to be a bit warm.
What would I be? Well, I'm always told that I have a bit of a steely exterior. People don't always know how to take me. And I also get told that I've got a heart of stone, an ice cold heart at times.
She doesn't.
I can be a little bit emotionally unavailable at times. So I feel like I would be a Lindor because when you put those in your mouth and they're hard, and then when you suck them, this is going the wrong way. Do you ever get that thing where they go cold?
Yeah.
And I googled that and it is a thing. There's a real reason for that. There's like a scientific reason, but that's like me.
Oh, but a bit classy because Lindor.
I don't know. I think that's where the comparison ends. To be honest.
Oh no, she is. She's a classy lady.
She's very classy.
Yeah.
Thanks, girls.
Yeah, with her heels. You always see
Oh
her in
yeah,
heels.
and nice heels and their pretty
And a handbag
dresses.
and
Handbags. Yeah,
So-
definitely classy.
It's only because I'm short, but yeah. What about you, Sarah?
So I would be a Kit Kat chunky because I am quite chunky.
No,
and
you're
quite
not.
clumsy. But there's also many layers to me.
Very many layers.
So some days I am very happy. Some days I'm very not. And no, people never know how to quite take me because they don't know what sort of day I'm on. So I probably have a little bit of bipolar disorder, but
But we love Kit Kat junkies. I absolutely love Kit Kat junkies. So we're okay.
They're strong.
they're very strong.
They
I'm
are
a very strong person, so
And if you put them in the fridge, goodness me.
exactly. And I'm a staple. I'm always around.
Yeah, absolutely. You find your four-fingered Kit Kat right next to it. It's the
I'm an old
chunky.
favourite. I've been here a long time. So
Yeah, that's it. Ta-da.
Classic.
Oh, we'd like you to think about what chocolate bar you'd be. Have a
Yeah,
think.
have a think.
She could let us know on.
Oh yeah, let us know.
On Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. Any
I'll
of
put
those.
I'll put a post out and see what if anyone replies.
Yeah. Oh, please reply. It'll be fun to see what you all think, what kind of chocolate bar you are.
Okay, so moving on. So, as with any start of the year, you cannot go any further without talking about the school development plan.
I feel like shaking when they bring that up and they say, right, we're on the school development plan. We all go, oh.
And you instantly switch off. Well, really, we just want to talk about what we hope for this academic year from our podcast. So, I think because we've had some staffing changes.
Yes, a lot of staffing changes.
Well, one of our staff members in this meeting is not going to be in reception anymore.
No.
We did break that in the last episode.
Breaking news. Yes, I'm going down to nursery, which is, it's a great opportunity for the podcast. It was one of my first thoughts that we're going to have a lot more scope for just looking at things from the perspective with younger children.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic.
And obviously different provision, different ways of
Yeah.
working, so that would be really good. And you will be spending, Keely, your first full year as using your early years knowledge, but using it in interventions, aren't you, at school?
Yeah.
So we'll be exploring that more, which will be really good. Especially for if you've got like mixed age groups in your setting, or if you are moving out of early years and you're moving into the rest of the school and you can't quite shake the early years.
No, you can't.
Feeling.
You can take the girl out of early years, but you can't take the early years out of the girl.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And I think they've kind of found that up there. And they're like, I went into one room and I went, right, okay, we need some fine motor stuff in here. And she went, okay. What do we need? I went, don't worry, leave it with me. And like 2 minutes later, I came back with all this stuff and she went, okay, is that actually going to work? Yeah, just watch it. And she went, and then like at the end of the she went, that worked. It really worked. I know. Good, isn't it?
So if you are moving out of early years, but you're still early years at heart, then Keely will be at hand to impart some advice.
Or maybe if you're key stage 1 and you're implementing continuous provision, or you're trying to, it's good to get that perspective of how it works with the national curriculum and older children.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we also want to have some guest speakers on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you impart their wisdom instead of just having
Our
ours.
ramblings, get some actual experts.
So watch this space. We hope to have some guest speakers, so that would be really good. And if you are listening and you think you could impart some wisdom onto us, then please contact us on our
If
website.
you'd like to be a guest speaker, we'd love to have you.
we would love to have you.
Be nice to us, though.
No trolls.
If you'd love to do that, then go on our website, www.theearlyyearsstaffmeeting.com, and there is a section on there where you can get in contact with us, or on our Instagram page. You can
slide into our DMs.
Exactly, definitely. Okay, right, moving on to the main agenda. So we put a poll out. I think we did it on Instagram, and I've done it on Spotify where our podcast is. And people did reply. And the results were people wanted to find out more about setting up provision, which I think is only appropriate as we go into a new year.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. The other choices were settling children in and talking about skills teaching. So we will be doing those, but we will explore provision first of all. It's quite a big one.
So it'll be like a light touch, won't it?
It
really?
will. We're not going to go into all the different areas of the classroom, but we're just going to literally talk about, you walk into a room and there's furniture everywhere, perhaps you're new to early years. How do you go about setting up continuous provision? So that's what we're going to explore. Okay, so what you need to do first is, and we've talked about this in one of our first episodes.
I feel like it was our first proper episode, wasn't it?
Our
first full episode about ethos.
So you need to be aware of what the ethos is of the setting that you're working at. Whether you've just walked in, you need to speak to the staff to find out what their idea of what the ethos is, Or maybe you're suddenly in charge and you're thinking, right, okay, how am I going to steer this ship? You always start with your ethos. So it's important that you find that out. And that is purely talking to your staff, talking to your senior leadership, talking to your managers. And just try and get a feel for what the ethos is.
Yeah.
Okay. And then once you've grasped all of that, then it's getting down to the, looking in all the cupboards.
Cupboards of doom.
Cupboards of doom.
We have many.
Yeah, it's really hard, isn't it, when you walk into a classroom, especially if you're new to a setting.
Yeah.
And you literally don't know what anything is. And I've been in this position quite a few times. And you don't want to throw anything away because you don't know if you're going to need it later in the year. You don't know who it belongs to, or but then you also want to put your own stamp on the class and get it ready for yourself. So it's always really tricky. So it'd be good to work with your colleagues to stock take. That's probably better done before the end of term, ideally, isn't it? But
it doesn't always happen.
No,
especially if you're moving into somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's about assessing the lay of the land, looking in all the cupboards, looking in all of the areas. What are the furniture? What is the resources? And actually, then having a look around with fresh eyes and thinking, oh, actually, we don't need that piece of furniture. It's broken.
Yeah.
It's not fit for purpose. It needs to go.
Can't get fixed.
So then you start the editing process, and that is where you just have a good old chuck out. And for some staff members, it's a love it or hate it. It depends where you are. You love chucking things out.
Yeah.
You love that purging experience, or you love hoarding and you find that really difficult.
now I feel like we've got both ends of the spectrum here. Because I know I've seen.
I don't know what you mean.
I've seen Sarah go on purges where she's just had enough and she just goes on purges. And I've seen Keely's eclectic collection.
Your cupboard.
Yeah. What cupboard? See. Oh, okay, right. So my cupboard was tidied out, and I did take all my stuff when I left, and that was fine. Now now someone's come to me and said, your cupboard is full. I was like, no, my cupboard's not full. I took them, and now I've got into my cupboard's full. Who put stuff in my cupboard?
It was you.
And they went, no, well, it's you, wasn't it? I went, no, I haven't been here. I've been up the school. I've got a shelf. That's all I've got. And they went, no, this is your stuff. And I go, no, it's not. And I've gone through it, and it's not my stuff. So it wasn't me.
Oh, so you've got a bad rep.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, and I hope someone gave me a bad rep, and it wasn't me.
And so, you really need to look at, have you got too many of something? Do we need to cull some things?
Yeah.
And also making a little list as you go, that core provision. So in continuous provision, something called core provision are things that are out all the time. They are the lowest skilled items, usually. But they are the core of what that area is. So if we look at the sand area, it'd be the sand.
Yeah.
You couldn't have a sand area without sand. So that is the lowest, skilled part of it, because all you can do with sand is just rub it between your fingers and mould it. You need tools.
Well, you're adding to it, yeah.
And that is something you need to think about in your, when you're setting up. What is your lowest skilled items? They are your core. What is missing?
Yeah.
And so therefore we need to source those. So it's the process of editing. We have had skips arrive.
We have.
We have hidden things in rubbish bags.
We have. Quite a lot.
So we've had both ends of the spectrum.
I think, we've also, what we're trying to do this year is to create a collective collection of things. So rather than having, well, this class's small world and that's that class's small world, we're trying to put them all together and pull them all together. So that, but it's finding that place where you can store it and have central, because people do tend to get possessive over, sometimes a lot of the time it is stuff that teachers or TAs have actually bought. So
Yeah.
it is actually their own stuff. But even when sometimes it can just be something you've had in your room for a long time and you're rather attached to it. So yeah, it is about just thinking, right, for the good of the children, we do need to like pull these resources together. And
I think, just to put it out there, the way that we work, so a little bit of background knowledge, is that all the classrooms are open to all the children, and it is like more like a unit. And so we don't have 3 role play areas, we don't have 3 painting areas, we have one area for all of the children that we have in the setting. So that is where you do need to be really work together as a team.
Yeah.
And you can't start being
you can't be precious over this.
So that's the background to us. So so continuous provision for us is vital, that we do work together, and we do edit those resources. We do categorise all the resources together, and then store all the, what I call the back stocks, all the extra things that might need replenishing. So you might have you might only put 10 dinosaurs out.
It's your overflow.
Your overflow. You might have 10 dinosaurs that you keep in the Small World store.
Because the motto is less is more.
And I don't think we've said that yet.
I must say, I found less is more really hard. Surprise, surprise.
No.
It's so hard. And lots of people had to come and went, yeah, less is more, remember, Keely, less is more. And I go, yeah, I've really tried. And they're going, you really haven't, have you? I have, but we need this for this and need this for... But really, do they really need it at this moment in time? When they first come in, do they need that coloured stone? I'm like, yeah, they do need that coloured stone, because it could be this or it could be that. Yeah, but they don't need it right now, do they?
I think it's so tempting to put out, and I actually did make that mistake last year of just... because I had the loose parts area in my classroom, and I was just collecting all these loose parts, and I was so proud of all the different collections that I just ended up putting it all out. Huge mistake, in the words of Pretty Woman. Big mistake, huge, because it just, until you've taught the children how to use it and how to tidy it away, you do need to like strip it back. So
and that is part of our ethos, the less is more motto. We use that a lot when we're setting up areas. We've set it up, we'll stand back and go, is this less is more? Do I need all of these different writing implements?
Yeah.
Do we just need to start off with 2 and build it up?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to talk about this in our next episode, but social media and Pinterest and Instagram has a huge impact on this, I think. Practitioners want it to look perfect and look pretty. But yeah, we're going to go into that more next episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, once you've edited, you categorise, you take stock, and then you find a central store for all of these items so that they're accessible when you need them.
And label.
Yes.
I love to label. But
I think it's ingrained in teachers that they love laminators.
Do love a label. But even if it is, because I'd like a nice printed off label. However, I have learnt to Post-it note things, or just, like the stickers that you put the children's names on and stick them on them. Like ones like that, and just stick them on your things. So at least everybody knows where everything is.
And I think some people, there is a train of thought where they say that actually you don't need to label things if you teach children to tidy them away.
Oh no, I'm talking about the central store for adults.
Yeah. Oh, are you?
Oh, right.
I was going to move on.
Not so much in the classroom, more to do with the central store for the adults, because anybody could, if they're looking to quickly grab something because maybe a child's doing something and you want to add that extra thing in that's maybe not in the classroom because you think, but I can go and get that out. At least if it's labelled in there for everyone because you're all using it, then that's what I meant.
I'm more of a screw it on the outside of the box with a Sharpie kind of girl.
Yeah, that'll do.
As you know, my laminating is particularly bad. It's questionable.
Steph's laminating is...
I just don't have time, I'm sorry. It's bad for the environment.
It is.
Where she cut off half of it. You
loaf.
put it through. What was it like?
It was my calendar last year, and I was like panicking at the end of the year. So the troops all came into my room, and I'd laminated all these like little date, for the calendar, the dates, and I think it was the 7th, just like completely like overlapped.
Half of it was laminated, half of it wasn't.
So all the
it had
others-
a little bit of like the 6th or something on it as well. Shall that'll do.
So that one was particularly small, and every time it was the 7th, it always used to just remind me of my.
Became a pentagon rather
It
than
was
like
so funny.
a square.
But do you know
Sure,
what?
that's okay.
It did the job.
But if we talk about labelling in the classroom, I think if you have the resources labelled and have the amount that's supposed to go in
Yes.
there, then that really helps the children. But it also helps the adults more, I'd say,
Yes.
especially at the beginning of the year. And when we swap classrooms, as we do for our provision, if you're not in that classroom all the time and you want to model how to put things
Yeah.
together, it is just as vital for adults to know where
Especially
things
at the start when you're teaching the children where all the stuff goes. If you're new into that classroom for that day, you kind of be like, oh, where
And
did
it
it go?
doesn't need to be, Instagram amazing. It
No.
just needs to be a label with the name and how many things are in it.
Yeah.
And if you really want to, you could put a picture on it so that the children
Yeah,
have
I think
that.
photographs help, don't they? As well,
Photographs
of
do
how
help.
how everything is laid out. But we're probably going to talk about that a bit more in the next episode.
think
I would
so,
say.
yeah.
We're digressing, I think.
I think we are.
So, what we want to do is look at once you've sort of got your stock take and you've ordered, if possible, or at least identified what's missing, and perhaps make a wish list. It's not always possible to get your hands on those things straight away, but if there is a wish list, at least
Yeah.
You can look
how
out
to
for
spend
things,
your
can't you?
budget when it eventually comes your way.
Yeah, if there is one.
Yeah. And then it would be looking at the skills that we want the children to have through the provision.
Yeah. So, Mr. ABC, Mr. Alistair Bryce Clegg, he is quite a pivotal figure on.
Yeah.
He's got his own podcast. He's got many, many books.
Yeah.
But he
also does on TES.
Oh, yeah.
He does really good webinars and stuff, and he joins with like loads of other teachers and scientists and stuff. I've done a couple of his webinars, and they're really good.
He does know his stuff, and he's quite funny. But he developed this thing about layering provision. So it's about looking at those skills that you want the children to learn, and thinking like I said earlier, what's the basic skill, and then building it up from there, and then looking at what provision would meet those skills, and then if anything needs to be taught, then that would go on your planning, and so you'd need to teach those children that skill to access that provision. And again, less is more. Only put out the basic things at the beginning of the year, and hopefully by the end you'd have more, enhanced provision with more skills in it. To meet the needs of your children. Again, it comes down to building relationships with those children and families, and knowing what the needs are, and the provision should reflect the needs of the children. So when you're putting things out, yes, it may look lovely and beautiful, but what are the children getting from that? Is it going to meet the needs, whether it be a communication need, a fine motor need, I don't know, social need, anything. Who is that for? And how is that going to help the children learn? So things aren't placed out just because. Yeah,
and I know that's really hard for quite a lot of people, because that's almost something, even at uni, you're kind of almost like, this is kind of the thing it needs to look like. You want it to look beautiful and really like colourful, but actually think about that little child that's coming into you that maybe, especially with COVID, not just COVID, but when they come into you, they might not have been into anywhere like this. It might be a lot bigger than what they're used to. Their nursery, or might not have even been to nursery. They maybe have only ever been at home.
With the nursery, a lot of the children, it is their first setting.
Yeah.
So
yes,
they're coming in and they have no idea that this is what you do in a
And maybe,
childcare setting.
you know, with a pen or a pencil or whatever, if you've got the pens, crayons and pencils and something else all out at the same time, just think about that overload. Like if you go into a restaurant and they say to you, right, here's your starters. Would you like this, and this? But you can only choose one at the moment, because that's what we're going to say. Well, choose one and then put it back. Yeah. But actually, for a 4-year-old, I want the ice cream and the chocolate brownie. Why can't I have both?
I'm really bad, by the way, at choosing my food in a restaurant. Terrible. Yeah. That's probably why, isn't it? I need to have limited options.
And that's the thing. I know it's silly me using food.
Do you know what the magic number is? I read this yesterday.
Oh, here we go.
So the scientists did a experiment, and they looked at optimal learning in early years with resources, and the optimum amount of choices is 4.
Well, there you go.
Keely. Right.
So is it like we could work up to the 4, because you wouldn't maybe necessarily have 4 out as you very first come in.
Yeah, and that's what they were saying. It was, and they were talking about just having 4 toys out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so not just like 4 choices, but 4 items. If they had a playroom that was full of stuff, they could only cognitively take in 4 things.
What age was the children on this study?
They were from toddlers, so that was from 2.
Okay, yeah.
So that's really interesting. Yeah. Oh, look,
I'm just thinking about my daughter's bedroom at home, which is absolutely, I know.
I just thought about the playroom in my house. I just thought, I've got quite a few more than 4 things in there.
Else becomes
4,000.
wallpaper.
Yeah.
Becomes wallpaper. And then they only access those 4 items that they really like. And everything else they don't see.
Yeah. See, I think there's probably too much choice in my playroom, because my children just stick with the same things, or they don't play with any of the other things that are around.
So 4 is the magic number.
4 is a magic number. Do-do-do. It's a magic number. I think that's great, because if you think about it, as we was just saying, like in your writing area or whatever, your mark making area, then like paper, that would be a 1. Then you've got like pencils would be your 2, and then you might have
crayons, another mark making.
Yeah, you might
have a colour.
Yeah,
the colours.
What else and then maybe
like scissors.
Yeah. And then leave your hole punches and all those things till a bit later. Yeah. And your felt tip pens for a bit later.
It's hard, isn't it? Because it's that fine line between having enough that they've got the opportunity to take their learning somewhere.
But maybe for that first interaction, for your first week or so, you could just think, 4 things, and then see how that goes. But as you said, then you might have to add those enhancements a bit more when you find out about your children a bit more.
The layering process. Yeah. And it is, I don't think we'll ever get it right all of the time.
No.
But it's that trial and error, isn't it? And actually having that ability to take things away that aren't working, and actually that can be really difficult for practitioners. Yeah.
Especially if you spent a week of your holiday setting something up, and it
and you think,
why did I do that?
Yeah. But also, like, it's your cohort, as we've said before, haven't we? It depends who you've got coming in and what children.
And it's all trial and error. It's a learning process for us as it is for the children, and it's all about observing and watching how they interact with the resources, and that is your
biggest thing.
Your biggest key, isn't it? If there's something's working or not. And if they're just trashing it, I think it means that they haven't learned.
They're not accessing it the way would like to be. Yeah.
But we digress.
Yes. Again. Should maybe change our name to the Digressers.
Okay. So, should we talk quickly about enhanced provision?
Yeah.
So we've talked about core provision, and enhanced provision would be what it says on the tin, really. It's enhancing the area, and it could be for a very short period of time linked to children's interests. So it could be about going into your central store and bringing out some pirate figures because you see some children have made a pirate ship, and you would bring those figures out, and that would enhance their play because they would be able to then use that in a role play scenario. And that may only stay out for one session, and they might get, they might be so precious then you put them back in the store for another time. Or they might stay out longer if the children are really
Yeah.
engaging with them. Enhancements are also things that may be adult led, so you could be the enhancement, so you could be the person modelling a skill or some language or I don't know, anything.
Yeah.
So you could be the enhancement. Or it could be for your more able children, it could be adding some, some tools, maybe that at that stage way above than what you would expect. I think we've definitely done that in the sewing area where we had crochet needles out.
Yeah.
For children that had amazing fine motor
skills.
And they just took to it like that. But again, it's knowing your children.
Yeah.
So that's what enhancements are. They're not there all the time. It could be a photo. It could be
a book. Yeah.
It could be anything.
It could be like a little provocation or an invitation to play.
Yeah.
Linked to something that the children have, are inspired by.
It's the magic, isn't it? Basically, it's the enhancements. It's those magical things that don't stay out all the time. Once they've done their job, they go away, and something else comes out. And it's what keeps your provision fresh and exciting as well.
I did see something on yesterday that I was looking at. It was I think it was something called listen to your child, listen to children, or something it was, and it was about how the play develops for a child. But so what this person did is they put out just the stuff you needed to make gloop. And they had, at one end was the corn flour, the other end was a jug of water. And they left this out for 2 weeks to see what was going to happen and to also let the children kind of take it the way they needed to. But she observed the whole time. So someone there observing them, but also she went in if she needed to. And she put So the first day it all got put together and it looked a little bit watery, and then someone said, the next day the child said, could we have some more corn flour? And she said, yeah, that's fine. But why did you need the corn flour? We're going to try it because it didn't quite work because it was all just a bit, they said it's a bit watery. So she added in the extra, and then they added in some food colouring. And then by the end of the week, it then turned into the children had still got all the essential things, so she cleared it up and put it back out. They then put in, some days then she left it, they put in this, looked like a volcano, but it wasn't. It was it was a plastic toy that cars could go down, and it was a ramp thing. Yeah, but it was a ramp, and it was just green. It just had a ramp going down, like a mountain. Yeah. And then the children were like, oh, so then they were pouring the gloop down it to see what would happen. And then she put the next day next to it, she then put out some wheels and some cars and something else to see what they would do. And then it ended up turning into this massive thing about how cars going down ramps and how fast they could go. And so it all turned from gloop to then turning into something completely different.
And all the children needed was time. They needed time to explore
and
that,
it was,
didn't they?
She left it out for the whole week, and then I think it went into another week because of what was coming out from it. And then when it kind of gone to the point of nobody else was really playing with it, or they'd lost interest in that part, she'd then put out ramps and stuff and cars because they were still playing with that, but they weren't playing with the gloop anymore, and put them into another part of the provision.
Yeah. So your gloop, your water and your powder is your core provision, and everything else is your enhancement.
And it just added as she went. But it was to do with the observing and asking the children what was going on, but also stepping back and not talking to them, just watching what... So she didn't ask them about the cars. She put those bits out because someone had mentioned it, had said, what would happen if we put a car down? And then she put out some cars she knew that would maybe move well to go with the gloop, because it's not great, is it?
No. So that literally is just encompassed all of it as a wonderful example of
Thank you. I saw it yesterday.
It wasn't even planned.
That was
hit you off the cuff.
Thingied up on my Facebook. Thank you very much. But yes, I did watch it. It was very good.
Okay. Right. Do you feel a bit of a mindful moment coming on, ladies?
Mindful moment.
Yeah, I feel like we need to now go to our Zen place.
Okay. to you then, Steph, my lovely.
Well, this week we're going to be thinking about switching off. How do we make sure that we do switch off and give ourselves a break, a mental break, as well as a physical break from the world of early years and work and school and children? And I just thought we could maybe explore some of the strategies that we use, because it is something that I really, really struggle with.
And I really, really struggle with as well.
Even in the school holidays, I am constantly thinking about school, and I have to be really strict on myself. Like, if I know, right, I'm going away, I'm not going to think about school this week. And every time I have a school-based thought, I sort of push it to one side and think, no, this is a time for like other thoughts. But it's really hard sometimes, because especially if you're on like social media and things, because you're constantly getting all the analytics of all the things you normally look at, like, you know,
and it's being put in your face.
So sometimes I've also done where I've muted groups, like you can mute things on Facebook and Instagram, and I've done that before. I'll just mute that group, or even like you could mute, I mean, I don't do this, girls, but you could mute the school WhatsApp or the staff WhatsApp group, couldn't you? You could mute it. You can mute your emails. Something I do is lists. I like to write lists, and that helps me to get all my thoughts out, and then I'm able to then move on from worrying about the load of work, knowing that I've got my list and I know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
What about you girls? Have you got any strategies for switching off?
If I get the chance, I do crocheting.
Yeah.
Or I
Good
do
old
gardening.
hobby.
Or do gardening.
Gardening, yeah. Both like a garden.
Dependent and season dependent as well. But they're the two things that I do.
Yeah.
Or just spending time with my family.
Yeah.
But because I have young children, I do find that really difficult, because I then become teacher mode, and then I start getting back into that train of thought.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we'll go shopping and I think, oh, that's a good bargain, I need back to school.
Yeah.
And I'm terrible for doing that.
Yeah. I think we all have been. At some point, I've been awful there.
So, and I do find it really hard to switch off, because I also do really enjoy reading stuff about early years. I do enjoy looking at all of that stuff. So I do find that really difficult.
It's hard, because I feel like I enjoy it too and I find it interesting, but then it gets you thinking and it triggers something in your mind. Oh, maybe I should do that, or oh yeah, I need to, you know. And so it just spirals into this work thought train. Yeah.
And I think it is okay to do that, but you do need a brain break. You do need some time where you don't think about work. And I do find when I go on holiday, so I go camping. You go caravanning.
I go on caravan.
Miss Lindor over there likes to go abroad.
Lindor likes to go abroad.
I'm an all-inclusive.
I told you
I was classy. Yeah.
Classy. Whereas like we both go to like the same places.
We do.
You know, yeah.
And that is
I'm not a camper.
Sorry?
I'm not a happy camper.
She's not a happy camper. Wouldn't even like a bit of glamping.
I wouldn't mind a bit of glamping. As long as I haven't got to, you know, set anything up. 'Cause that's not my forte.
So we'll just get you someone that will come and set everything up
one of those
for
lovely
you.
bell tents
Oh,
with like
yeah.
the
Oh,
beds.
yeah.
And, like, I don't mind a bit of like, I don't mind sleeping in a tent. That's fine. Like, I can cope with that. My husband not so much, because he's very tall. But it's more of the I'm just not a natural.
So what do you like to do to switch off? So I like to gardening and crochet.
Yeah,
What do you do?
Gardening, it's the same. Yeah, we've got our own allotment, growing our own vegetables. That is a big kind of part of our lives, because it's really important, and our children are growing up to see like where everything comes from, and we do that. It's a big part of our lives. We love that. And then that wasn't enough for my husband. Allotment wasn't enough. We haven't got like the biggest garden in the world. We've got a tiny garden. It's so small. But our front garden is big-ish. And he decided no, grass wasn't enough. So he's turned the whole front garden into like a mini veg plot. It's very nice, actually. It's all got like really nice raised beds and stuff. And I was sorting it out because we're on a bit where on like a bit of a main road, and because we're in a very small village, a lady come across, she went, "Oh, you picking stuff for your dinner, are you?" I was like, "Yeah." "Do you want any?" And like that's just how it like goes. And then I just start talking to people.
You two are so wholesome.
And then
like, you really are.
Do you know? And it makes you feel really good.
It makes, I won't go down on the tangent,
yeah. It makes you feel really good, and you do forget about stuff for a bit. But I'm much better now. Now I've changed my job, and I'm not in the teaching part at the moment, and I don't have as much like all that responsibility and all that paperwork and stuff, and that has really helped. I still love doing what I'm doing because I'm still being with children, I'm still helping them, but not having to do all that other stuff as well. But also, me and my husband do have a rule. Once a week, we turn the devices off. So we'll sit and maybe watch a film. Actually watch
on
the
a device.
Film. On a device. Yeah, all right. Thank you for that, Steph.
Turn off the screens.
But turn off the
watch a big screen collectively.
other screen, because I kind of find that I'm looking and doing things, but then you've got the film on at the same time, and we're still with the little screens trying to watch the big screen, and it just isn't working because you find it really hard to turn off. So we do just say turn off, or just put them to the side so we can't see them or don't get them, because you don't really want to be bothered to get up, so you just kind of sit there and you do watch, and then we do get to sit and talk. And sewing, I love my sewing. You've got your crochet. I got my sewing.
God, you two are so wholesome.
Take us to
me,
the nursing home.
You'll be all right.
Yes, please. We'd be great there, wouldn't we? That's where me and Sarah need to go now.
But you know what I do to switch off now? I listen to podcasts.
Yay!
I love listening to a podcast. So I'll do that while I'm folding my washing. Or, go walk into the shops or something like that. That helps me to switch off. As long as it's not an education one, I have to be in the mood to be in an education one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end today.
I think it does.
We just need to promote all our lovely promotey things, Sarah.
Okay. So, gospel class, like any other business. So, I have been a little bit more prolific on Instagram
I've
recently.
noticed.
She has.
So I have been posting some things. And I posted a toilet one recently. So
I did see that.
you would have peeked.
I haven't seen this toilet one.
So I went to a museum, a steam museum on holiday, and inside the toilets was a sign that said, "Please do not throw tampons, paper," and then it was like bills, receipts, and it was just this really outlandish list, and it ended up with the goldfish. And I sat there chuckling, and I thought to myself, actually, and this comes back to not being able to switch off. Came back to like memories of fishing things out of toilets in my career.
Yeah.
And so I made my own list and I posted it on. And other people have commented on that.
Okay, so
my
I need to
favourite
get
one so far is that they had to retrieve a child's head because they were washing their hair in the toilet.
Oh, I love it. Oh, bless them.
So we have been posting more things on Instagram, and it's been lovely to have engagement. So please carry that on. We're TikToking, ladies.
I mean,
we're TikToking.
this is just blowing my mind.
As you all know
We
very
are
well,
so down with the kids.
I only just got onto Instagram. TikTok scares the hell out of me.
But I posted something, and like thousands of people have seen it, and liked it.
She's so happy about
I literally closed my phone up because I've got a flip phone, and I threw it and was like, oh, that's too scary. That's too scary.
I wouldn't even know how to get onto TikTok. This is the thing.
But
so
yeah,
now I feel like really
check
bad.
us out. We've started doing TikTok, and some people have also been posting things on Spotify. So people have been replying, and we've had a poll on there. So I will put a question linked to this episode that you can answer, and it'll be linked to Provision. So yeah, have a go at that. And please follow us. We've had an influx of followers as well on all of our podcast listening stations, and that is amazing. And that brings me joy because I just think someone is listening and
to our babbling,
our ramblings.
So yeah, that means an awful lot to us. But it would be great if we could have some more followers. Yeah. So thank you very much. That's it for our first episode back. Hooray!
First day back. We did it.
We did it.
Well done.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.